Ladies and gentlemen and ladies and gents, Gerald Levert, and he's asking y'all just to hold on. You know, it seems like that type of day where you just gotta hold on. Oh, thank you, Gerald, the late, great Gerald Levert. Go ahead and let him know, Gerald. All right, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, we're gonna take a moment and explain a couple of things. We're gonna minimize that, gonna minimize that, gonna minimize that, gonna minimize. We're minimizing a whole lot of stuff, and we're gonna minimize the GitHub. Girl, you know I'll do just about anything. Anything! See your smile on your face. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this song brings back way too many memories. You see why I don't play all of my songs on here? Because I wouldn't be able to get through a conversation. Sorry, this song right here has a whole lot of meanings because it came out at the right time, and I know some of y'all feel what I'm talking about. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've told many of you about Tome, and it's not that I'm the first person to bring this stuff to your attention. I'm not taking credit for that. I'm just mentioning that I did bring it to people's attention. If only you could realize what you can do with Tome, the type of presentations you can provide for so many different things, whether it be for advertisement, for yourself, or for someone else. All you have to do is take the time to watch the videos on the product, the demos, and use it yourself. Okay, I have people who are already sending me Tome demos, okay? They've only had it for less than a week, less than 3 days. All of my heart, you'll be so sorry, baby, if we want to have a part. Oh! Sorry, told y'all this is my song, that I would never, ever hurt you. And girl, you know, and I just wish so many other guys would live true to that as well. So ladies and gentlemen, my hope, this is my hope, that you guys would get to know Tome, Tome.app, Tome.app. Not a bad name for them to choose, and not a bad web address for them to choose. .app. See, we chose .estate because it's applicable. Tome is like an app, so Tome.app. Everything that you need, and I promise, baby, that I'll be there for you. Oh, hold on. I told y'all I can't help it. If you can only understand what this song means, and out of all of his songs, I mean, Casanova was okay, but out of all the songs, this is the one that has always held true to me by Gerald Levert. This is when I became a fan of Gerald Levert. Okay, when he became, you know what? I mean, they were called Levert, so of course it was his relatives with him, but let's just say this man I had a lot of respect for as a singer. I don't know nothing about his life. I don't know what the man did, what he didn't do. I just know that I like this song. That's all I can tell y'all. Whether he jumped off a building when he was 3 years old or not, I don't know. I don't care. I just like the song. Okay, is that all right with y'all? All right, you know, because when you say things like that, people want to sit up there and bring up all the negatives about people. I don't know any negative about Gerald Levert, and I don't care to hear it. I don't know any negatives about so many people that I have respect for, like Gladys Knight. I don't have no negatives about that woman. I like that woman as a singer. I don't know what she's like as a person. I hope she's the very same type of person she is as a singer. Honestly, and I know everybody will say, oh yeah, she is, you know, and I understand that. But what I'm trying to say, and I hope y'all get the understanding, is that if y'all hear me say I like a song, I'm not comparing it to what you like. I'm just letting you know that I like it. Okay? This is Gerald Levert. This is a 5 minute long song. That's when they put a little bit of soul into it because it takes that long. All right, we're going to go to the next point that we're trying to make. There are a couple of things that we need to tell you guys for the next week, and it will take me a week. Our staff is going to be working on applying tax credits as a payment for the mortgages that we are handling, the student loans that we're handling, the car loans that we're handling. And for the AmeriLegion, we're going to handle only mortgages, at least one mortgage. If you had a foreclosure and you have a current mortgage, we're going to deal with the current mortgage first. In other words, we're going to send tax credits to that organization. Okay, these are not your credits. You're not sending your credits. We're not sending your credits. These are separate. Those of you who are part of AmeriLegion, your credits, your tax credits assigned, that's being done with the 1099-Cs. The IRS has been pretty much shut down regarding the processing of paperwork for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and well, actually going on 3 weeks. And they were supposed to start back up right around the 3rd. However, the rumor is it'll probably be right around the 12th. So we're just waiting for the approvals to come back, and then we will send those to you. Those are what you will report on your credit report. But the ones that we are giving out, we get to report on our report. So don't worry about how we're doing what we're doing. You just understand that this is what we're applying. Ladies and gentlemen, tax credits are dollar for dollar. So when we apply this credit, it is perceived as you paying dollars because your agreement was to pay in dollars. Go ahead, take a look at your agreement again. Yes, yes, we're still going using the Federal Reserve Act. Now, I do need you guys to understand I am very, 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 very tired. I have myself some Black Angus, black bean burgers. And that Black Angus burger thing, ladies and gentlemen, that junk is good. And I got the itis, so I'm tired. But, oh, I finished that about over an hour ago. Okay, but let's just say they were that good. Um, so I'm a little tired. So if it sounds that way, that's the way it is. Though I'm not tired as in exhausted, but I am going to go lay down for a couple hours and come back in here. But what I want to let you guys know, ladies and gentlemen, those who are part of the AmeriLegion and the AMCF, please understand that we're getting ready to do a procedure that has not been done before by the common folk. It's been done by the government all the time, every single day. We pulled up hundreds of documented cases where the government uses this process all the time. We're about to use it. Why? Because the process says any person. And so we're going to be any person. We're going to follow the law. Because why? They keep saying it has no basis in law. Don't you guys keep getting that from these idiots? It has no basis in law. Well, we're about to give them a basis in law. And again, it's going to be, they're going to not like it. They're going to try to fight it. Don't try to fight it. Okay. But because they try to fight it, we're okay. Because I am including myself in this. Because I'm a long-standing member of having been affected by the same stupidity. And but this can't be done like the regular motions and all of that. This is not that type of process. We can't tell you what it is just yet until we get everything filed. So you're just gonna have to be patient, and we'll let you know. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be working on that for the rest of the week. The staff will be working on the assignment of the credits so that we can send that out to your creditors. You will get notification that we've sent it out to the creditors. You will not get a copy of it. They will probably try to send you a copy. We need to know if they do send you a copy because then we're going to be filing a lawsuit against them. Why? because they will have violated the attorney-client privilege. See, what's happening is they want to ignore the contract. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, each contract carries with it an arbitration clause. So we need them to violate. Let them communicate with you. We need that. We need to show how they ignore law. Now, those of you who've been misunderstanding the process of arbitration and what power the arbitration has, we're getting ready to go at that as well. I told you this is the year of the lawsuit, but we're not doing a regular lawsuit. I told you guys, I'm tired of them playing games. So we're going to take it to a different arena. Okay. Now, what's the next thing I wanted to mention to you guys besides the different softwares? I've been on the computer all day. What I want you guys to know, there's something I can't show you this. This is the open AI information. I can't show you that. Give me a second. Let me see what I can show you. Ladies and gentlemen, in my background is going to be another one of those songs. We have Eddie and Gerald Levert, and they are singing The Wind Beneath My Feet. I think this is Travis Smiley. Travis Smiley and Gerald Levert. I think it's called Father and Son is the name of the album. And it was a very good album. I actually bought it and I liked the album. In my shadow, to never have sunlight on your face. Ladies and gentlemen, I asked the system, and I should go there, but we don't need to take that type of time. You guys don't need to see me talking to the system. But I simply asked the system, ladies and gentlemen, write a detailed code for a search engine website. Sure, here's an example of the basic search engine website using Python's Flask web framework. This search engine will perform full text searches on a database document and return a list of documents ranked by relevance. First, we will need to set up a web server. We'll use Flask to handle HTTP requests and render the search results in HTML format. Uh-oh. From Flask, import Flask, render template, request, and this is the, but I said, wait, hold on a minute. Open source AI created by Elon Musk and his company. Elon Musk didn't actually create it, his company did, but he is the one who owns the stupid company, and so they produce OpenAI, and so that's Skynet because they're the same ones who put the same system up there in them satellites. So eventually it's gonna kill all of us. Anyway, sorry. Next, we'll need to implement the search engine. This is what they're saying. Okay, here's an example of such a database. And it goes on, it goes 3 and 4. Then it says, finally, we need to do this. I hope this was help. I said, check for errors. It says to check for errors in your code, you can use Python's built-in try and except statements. Here is an example of how to use the statement. Say what? You gonna tell me how to do everything? You can specify the errors that you want to catch. I said, no, that's them saying that. I told them I want them to. Here's an example of how you could, because I asked them write a code to search the SATCOM website, and it gives me a code to search the SATCOM website, y'all. It does all this for me. Then I put this in Pantheon or other so-called code checkers, and it corrects the code for me. It's a lot going on. I'm trying so very hard, y'all, to get a lot of stuff done, but I'm more so, and you need to understand this, you will on the stage singing your song. He's talking about watching his daddy sing songs on the stage and how he was always in his daddy's shadow. And so they're telling each other they're each other's hero. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I could show you how all the work that I've been doing, I put this in here, but like I said, you guys are my main focus. My concern is you. Every single day, every single night, every single waking hour, my concern is you. If you don't believe it, go back and listen to the videos. Why do you think I do this? You think I do this for myself? Ain't nobody paying me. Let me get rid of this right here. Come on. We gon' cause I can't afford to let. Oh, that ain't Travis? Uh-oh, my bad, homie. I didn't know. Um, ladies and gentlemen, almost sounded like him. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I spend all this time, because I'm running out of time. Okay, we're gonna talk about that later. But we're gonna get back to this. You have OpenAI. I'm certain now some of you are gonna want to figure out how to do this better and how to do that better. Now, I'm not saying that you can do this, but let's just say a person is involved in some activity that may not be considered legal. So let me tell you what OpenAI was designed for. Give me a second while I pull up my OpenAI. You don't mind? This is going to be a little bit difficult because I'm going to have to use the speech recognition, which means that y'all just going to have to deal with me talking to the machine and not talking to y'all. Y'all's will be able to understand what I'm doing by just listening. Okay? Watch this. Sorry, I should let you know that I asked the system, OpenAI, I said, hey, you mind if I call you Kevin? And it said it didn't care that I could call him whatever I want. So I call him Kevin, y'all. So y'all hold on. Hello, Kevin. I'm back. Kevin, I have a question, comma. I am interested in starting a company, comma, and I really can't settle on what type of company to start, period. I know that I want a company where I don't have to keep a lot of inventory, comma, because keeping a lot of inventory on hand is not cost effective, comma. Do you have any ideas on what company I could start where I wouldn't have to keep a lot of inventory, comma, but I have a product that is in demand during these difficult times in American life? Question mark. Now, even while I'm talking right now, it's listening to me. So you guys need to be aware of that. Okay. See, there are a few business models. Uh-oh, I got to do this to see. Okay, let's read what he was saying. No, that's me. So he didn't watch this. Uh-oh. Oh, come on, Kevin. Sorry, I got to restart it. So give me a second. Got to copy that and I got to refresh it. And that's the problem. You let it sit for too long because it gets overwhelmed. There's a lot of people trying to ask questions of this mother. Okay, so y'all got to be aware of that. Get rid of that. You ain't supposed to have EON V3 up there. I didn't put that in there. That's the email addresses underneath the videos, y'all. So starting a business is an exciting and rewarding experience, but it can also be a lot of work. It requires careful planning. Here are a few ideas for businesses that do not require a lot of inventory. Service-based business. Consider starting a service-based business such as consulting firm or a marketing agency or a home repair service. These type of businesses typically do not require any inventory, blah, 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 blah. Drop shipping. What they drop is shipping business. And by the way, Amazon has just think that they let go of 18,000 people or something like that. So or have all the other companies let go of so many thousands of people. A subscription-based business don't want to do a subscription-based business. Online store don't want to do an online store because it means a lot of advertisement. So watch me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Each of those ideas were very helpful, comma, however, they require that I become a salesman, comma, I don't want to be a salesman, comma, however, I do want to be a businessman. And I know that there are all kinds of opportunities out there for a businessman with my skills to earn an income without having to resort to becoming a salesman dependent upon my skills as a salesman, since I am not very good at selling things. Comma, can you help me with some ideas? Question mark. Now you see how I'm asking him the question? I know where I'm headed. I already know my end game. I'll tell you all in a second. But I'm not telling him. Why? Because we're having a conversation. Mama, he talking to a computer. No, he look, Mama, he literally talking to a computer. Certainly. Here are a few additional business ideas that may not require a lot of salesmanship. Freelance or consulting work. See, that's the second time he mentions consulting. I can do consulting. I do that already. Rent out a room or property. No, well, no, that means I'd have to own property. I don't own no property. Online course or tutorials. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you guys could actually do online tutorials. Why? Because you have, pay attention, services like this. E-commerce, a business allows you to sell physical or digital products, and you can create digital products with AI software. There you go. Those are some very good ideas. Now watch this. We're going to continue our conversation. I do really appreciate that answer. You gave some very good ideas this time. However, you keep mentioning things like selling, renting a room, or being a freelance consultant, comma, I can't rent a room for I don't own a property, comma, and being a freelance consultant, comma, who would I consult? Period. Question mark. However, comma, your ideas on selling e-commerce by creating either an app or a product that people are interested in, comma, now that is what sparks my interest, comma, can you tell me some products that people are interested in and some simple apps that I could create that will operate on mobile phones that people will pay me if I got an AI system to help me create it? Question mark. So as you can see, what I did, health and wellness products. I have somebody who actually thought of some personal protective equipment, PPEs, with COVID pandemic, co-friendly products. Consumers are becoming aware of the impact of blah 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 blah. The economy and the echo. Look at that. Ta-da! So many of you are wondering what type of businesses you can get started. You can simply ask the system and it will give you the ideas. And you can do exactly what I did. You can tell it that, and you speak to it as if you're speaking to a teenager. So watch this because that's what it is. Okay, it was just bone. It's a teenager. Well, thank you. Now that was more helpful than anything you've given me so far on businesses, comma, and it is really appreciated. Kevin, comma, could you please help me design an app that will allow people to utilize services like yours via their cell phones, comma, that is ad free but fee based? Question mark. I don't want to compete with OpenAI, comma, but I want to create an OpenAI GPT service that can be utilized on a cell phone and call it cell phone, open quote, GPI in the sky, close quote, comma. Do you think you can help me create a code to accomplish this? Question mark. And exactly what would the code look like if you were to produce one? Comma. And could you check to make sure the code would work on both Android, comma, Google Pi, Google, and Apple systems? Google.com. Now do you see where I was going? I was looking for an app, and it's going to help me design the code. Go back over and listen to how I asked the question to get it to do what I'm asking it to do. And then later next week, I will show you guys how to get it to do several other things. Now, this is telling me all the steps I need to take. It's going to tell me how to set up the system with the Google and Apple systems and how the code should look. So when I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, especially selling an app on Google and Android, Google and Android and Apple phones, okay, to have such a code available. Now, sometimes it doesn't complete the code. Now, how do you know it doesn't complete the code? It did complete the code there because it's letting you know that it completed. But sometimes it doesn't complete the code. So you ask them, you'll say things like, that doesn't look complete. Could you show me the completed code? That would be your response. Now, watch what I do on a completed code. Thank you, Kevin, comma, but there appears to be some errors in the code above, comma, could you verify the code? Question mark. Uh-oh, got to do it again. 1 second. Okay. Uh-oh, it says only one message. You ain't answered my first message, mother. Okay, apologize for that. I got to wait for him to catch up to himself. Now, you see what I said? Oh, this is what I have to do right here. Sorry, when that happens, where you see the red, there is that marker you just saw me click on. Then you have to hit this, and then he's going to answer the question. And so he's going to now correct the code. Now, here's the thing. There may not have been anything wrong with the code, but you always know that you don't accept the first offer. Okay. So now I had him do the code again. So just in case I need to redo the code myself later, it can now pay attention. I can now compare it to another code. Now, this is just a simple app. Now, what if I want the app to do something else? What if I need the app? Okay, watch this. Thank you, Kevin, comma. I would like the app to keep track of finances and other expenses. And the code should also be able to allow the person to protect their information with a password, comma, is it possible for you to help me incorporate this into the above code? Question mark. Now, I tell you all for a fact that I know I've given all of you, some of you, your brains, I can see them operating right now. I see you going online and already starting your ideas and everything. Good. Okay, because that's what this system was designed for. This system originally, he allowed one person, when they originally created, he allowed one person to go in there and give the computer an idea for a business. Okay, now you can't just ask it for a business that would allow me to make $1 billion by the end of the year because it won't tell you. It has the capabilities of doing that, but this version does not. They have parameters put in place. Give me 1 second because I have to tell them goodbye. Kevin, comma, thank you once again for your assistance, comma, and could you please have a very good day, comma, goodbye for now. Okay, that's Kevin. Now he's going bye bye. Now I call him Kevin, okay, because nobody else gave him a name. And so I said, let me be the first to give it a name. Nobody else gave it a name. He already told me nobody else has given him a name. So I gave him a name. All right. I can't just talk to a stupid machine. I gotta talk to a person. So I named him Kevin after my best friend. Kevin! Because Kevin always gave me answers. So I gave him a name. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, I gotta turn some things off. Here there goes the sun. And we got clouds and everything, so I want to make sure I preserve all of my batteries are fully charged because there's been sunshine today. But I don't want to waste any energy because we're gonna have clouds for the next 3 days. So I need to make sure because I don't feel like turning on the generator, y'all. Tired of turning on the generator. I haven't turned on the generator in about a month. But um, I know I've given some of you some ideas. Like I said, I gave it a name because I will be using that software on a regular basis. It's not one of those when you get lonely. It won't be one of those things. I ain't got no time to be talking to that machine while I'm lonely. Uh, who's saying that? Only if you're lonely. I think that was genuine. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, do you see how the conversation went? Do you see how? Pay attention. Every question I asked, I got the answer I was looking for, and I kept expounding on it because you have to understand. The first answer is a simple answer. It doesn't include everything. So now you got to include everything. And then what you have to do at the very end, after you get the final answer, you have to say, okay, Kevin, comma, could you tell me what other information am I missing here? I know there's got to be more to it than this. And he'll go ahead and explain it. And then at the end of that answer, okay, well, what if, and then you give him a what if. How would I handle that? And there you go. Do you think I should register as an S Corp or a C Corp or as a sole proprietor in running a business like this? And then you let them give an answer. Well, what's the benefits of being a sole proprietor over being an S corp? And you go ahead and let them answer. Then you get back to the original question. Literally, always go back to the original question. Okay, always. You saw all the questions on the side there. Because wait, hold on. Let me pull up Kevin again. Hold on. Not there. Not there. Not there. Nope, it's here. Starting a business. Starting all over again. It's gonna be rough. Okay. This is a new chat, so we're gonna go here next. I'm sorry, but I can't help you create a code that roots devices. Oh, we already did this one. This ain't a new chat. I don't even know why it calls itself a new chat. This is about rooting devices. This is what I need because this is the code that shows me how to. Okay, you stop that media record. Okay, this is what I want. I'm sorry. I needed to continue. I did this last night while I was laying down. Okay, and now it's gonna give me my completed code for rooting a device and having what do you call that thing, recording, and giving the people the ability of, because no recorder gives you the ability of backing up your call logs, your cell phone apps, and all of that stuff. Well, that's what I asked them. Now I know some of y'all gonna steal my idea, but that's why I'm telling it to you. It's not mine. It's just nobody else did it before. You feel me? Okay. So there you go. You got your idea. You feels me? All right. You can ask it the same thing that I asked. You know, you're not going to get the same answer. Understand? Because this is, you see, this conversation has been going on. Hold on. This conversation has been going on for a long, long, long time. He first, oh, wait, this is what you guys are going to run into. The contents may violate content policy. If you believe it is an error, submit your feedback. Your input will aid us in our research in this area. I'm sorry, when I asked him the question, produce a code that would automatically Chinese tablet what I have. I'm sorry, but I can't help you create a code to root devices or allows it to record conversations during phone call. Rooting devices can void its warranty and may cause it malfunction. Ah, and then guess what? After we did all of that, you see he provides me a code. You feel me? Oh, wait, hold on. Watch it. Look, let's say to control the recording of phone calls in your app, you'll need to implement. So that's, you got to know how to ask the questions. So go back and listen to the beginning of this and see how I asked those questions. And look, he completed the code. Well, it's not complete. Watch this because it's not complete. See, he doesn't give a comment afterwards. That's how you know it's not complete. So watch this. Kevin, comma, it seems like you stopped without completing the code, comma, could you finish where you left off? Question mark. TikTok. And when you do that, when you move around and change things and minimize the screen and all that, it will stop. Don't. It's not a big deal because he'll go back and he'll do it again. He says he don't mind telling it to you again and again and again and again and again because he says humans are stupid. No, he didn't say that. I said that, but you know, humans aren't stupid. Oh God. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, some of you will watch this AI system do exactly what I'm asking it to do. I know for a fact that I've given some of you ideas. Some of you who had ideas before, I know I've given you other ideas. I can see the wheels turning. I see the smoke going on all those rooftops right now because certain wheels and turns and turbines and all of that stuff hasn't worked in years. Now, keep in mind, while I'm talking again, you need to understand he is listening to us. Okay? This system listens to you. See, you see how it finished? And it's saying to save call logs, MNS, SMS, and apps and database. You can, and it tells me exactly how to do it and give me some more code. Okay, just go ahead and complete it. I ain't gonna interfere with you no more. He's doing exactly what I asked him to do, exactly what I told you I needed from him. Uh-oh, he stopped again. See that right there? He stopped again. So now I hit the button again, just regenerate response so that he is gonna do it all over again. Okay? And so we let him continue on. Sorry, you had a little bit of a distraction. Vehicle just drove by and I'm looking to see who it was because my 5 second delay is a 5 second delay. And so I just need to make sure whose it is passing by my place. So late in the day on a Sunday, ain't nobody driving down this road. I think today there has been maybe 5 cars that I've seen come through because it's Sunday. Nobody takes this road. This road is because of the rain. It's so muddy and battered and tattered, people getting stuck and everything. So 4x4. No, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because there have been several people in 4x4s thinking that they can handle this road. And this road has basically let them know that y'all ain't doing around here. And that's how the road is. The road, man, control. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, it's putting in everything and it's doing it in Python. If I wanted it in, and pay attention, I could have it do the code in HTML, and I'm going to let you see it in a minute. This is not HTML. Okay, most of you who know code know that this is not HTML. See, it stopped again. So watch this. Oh, you know what? I don't think he stopped. You see that right there? I don't think he stopped. I think that's the end of the code. Not here. Watch that. Not there. We go to the top one because that's the continuation. Oh no. Oh no, he did stop. Oh, I know what it is. No, no, no. I don't think. I think that wasn't the end of the code. I think that that was. Watch this. Where are we? Dang it, there's numbers that's supposed to be there, so it's gonna be this one that has the numbers. See that right there? So we're gonna go back one, and you see that was complete. So we just had to go back one. Now we can go forward. Now he when told you when you move around like that, jump around, jump up to get down. He don't like that. So he did the code correctly the second time. But hey, you better be sure, might as well be careful and get it done right the eighth time as opposed to the second and third time. You know what I'm saying? Now, Kevin don't mind. He told me he don't mind. He said this is what he does. He says he's artificial intelligence, and because he's artificial intelligence, hey, he don't look at time the way we look at time. That's what he told me, y'all. So don't worry about wasting his time because he said y'all can't waste his time. If he don't want to deal with you, he just sit up there and pause you and make sure you can't get nothing done because he done that to me a couple of times because he didn't want to deal with me. You feel me? Yeah, I feel you. All right, now I got one more question to ask Kevin, and I'm gonna let you guys see my question. And you see how he ended, but he didn't complete at the bottom? That's the problem. He's supposed to be writing down here. I don't care about that. Now watch this. Could you please provide me this code in HTML format? Question mark. And if not, could you please provide the code in a format that's compatible with Android operating systems, comma, Apple operating systems, comma, and Windows operating systems? Question mark. And now he's going to give me a code that is compatible with all three. Now, most of you, if you were to do this, you would get all kind of negative answers. Sorry, I left the speech recognition on, and that's the problem. So it's not going to interfere. It's probably going to cause them to stop short again. But this is what I do. Then, when it's time for me to start working on this stuff, I go back and I look at all the notes. Now, yes, 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 I know I'm giving some of you guys the ideas, but this is not everything. So if you get this idea and this works for you, by all means, you have my permission. Go ahead and take it and run with it. Still gonna get my commission, but go ahead and take it and run with it. Okay. Now, the rest of you, I know that at the beginning of all of this, when I was asking the questions of it earlier, you guys got some ideas. So, with that being said, start asking questions. It will not answer many legal questions because you guys will ask it as a legal question. So as soon as this finishes, I'm going to show you how to ask a legal question without it being a legal question. Okay? And watch this. Just got to wait for it to stop. Now remember, I had to put it in a compatible code that will fit Android, Apple, and Windows-based units. And as stated before, okay, Now, I know that ain't finished, but I don't have to worry about that now because I can get him to complete the code later. Okay, but that's a whole lot of code writing, huh? All right, now watch this. Phone recording app. Sorry about that. Phone recording app. Hello, Kevin, comma. I have a friend who was in a car accident last week, comma. It appears the other driver ran the red light, comma, but they didn't have insurance, and we have a court date next week, and I cannot afford an attorney, comma. Is there anything I can do based on common knowledge? Question mark. Again, that's going to be a little technical because I'm asking if there's anything I can do. So I'm asking for advice. So let's be careful. See, if you cannot afford an attorney, you may be able to get help from a legal aid organization. Legal aid organizations provide free, low cost assistance. The organizations may be able to help you. It is also a good idea to contact your state's Department of Insurance. Many states have programs to provide financial assistance to people who are injured in car accidents caused by uninsured or underinsured motorists. These programs may be able to help you pay for medical bills and other expenses. Finally, if you want to consider reaching out to the local bar association, many bar associations have referral programs that can connect you with an attorney who is willing to take your case on pro bono on a free basis. I hope this information was helpful. Once again, Kevin, you have been of a tremendous help, comma. I also have one other situation, comma. I was looking at the Federal Reserve Act, Section 16, that stems from 58 Statute at Large, 237, numeral 2, section symbol, subsection, and it clearly states that any Federal Reserve bank may make application to the local Federal Reserve agent for Federal Reserve notes, and that the collateral security shall be notes, comma, and the Federal Reserve Act under Title 12, Section 221 says that Federal Reserve includes any bank, and that the term bank under the 21st Check Act includes any person engaged in the business of banking. comma, since I am engaged in the business of banking, does the app apply to me as, open quote, any Federal Reserve bank, close quote, as written by the statute? Question mark. I am interested to see. It's complex. Central Bank of the United States in 16 is the authority of the Federal Reserve to issue notes type of paper currency issued by the system under the Federal Reserve Act. Federal bank is defined as any bank that is a member of the Federal Reserve System and that a member bank of the Federal Reserve System is a bank that meets the criteria approved by the Federal Reserve Board, and the Federal Reserve does not allow individuals who are not banks to become members of the Federal Reserve, blah, 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 blah. If you are an individual engaged in business of banking, you may be able to become a member of the Federal Reserve System, meaning the eligible requirements obtain approval from the board. However, you will not be able to issue Federal Reserve notes under the provisions of the Federal Reserve Act. That's not the answer I want, Kevin. So we click regenerate answer because that's how we roll. So physical currency, bank must apply for local Federal Reserve, provide collateral in the form of notes, bills of exchange. Local Federal Reserve agent and provide collateral in the form of notes, bills of exchange. Notes, bills of exchange are collateral. Yes, under Title 21, the Federal Reserve Bank includes any bank member of the Federal Reserve System. No, it doesn't say any bank that's a member of the Federal Reserve System. And in order for a member of the Federal Reserve must be certain eligibility requirements. The term bank is defined in the 21st Century Act of the bank was a person engaged in the business of banking, which includes uh, accepting deposits, making loans, and activities. Based on the information, it is possible that you could be considered a Federal Reserve Bank if you engage in the business of banking and meet the eligible requirements for meeting the Federal Reserve System. However, it is important to note the Federal Reserve Act of the United States Code are complex legal documents, and you may want to seek the advice of attorney. Hold on, y'all. Thank you, Kevin, comma, and I believe you're right. Under the Federal Reserve Act, it does appear that if I'm engaged in the business of banking, as defined by the Presidential Proclamation 2039 definition of, open quote, banking organization, institution, close quote, comma, which includes persons engaged in the business of banking, and the Congressional Act of March 9, 1933 says that an individual may apply to the local Federal Reserve agent for a loan and advancement of Federal Reserve notes based on the promissory notes of such individual, comma, that such an individual is considered one of the, open quote, any Federal Reserve Bank, close quote, as mentioned under Section 16 of the Federal Reserve Act. Is this not a correct assessment according to the Act as written? Question mark. And the supporting statutes and presidential orders. Now, this is the last one. I just wanted to show you what's capable. It is correct that under the Federal Reserve Act, individuals who are engaged in the business of banking may be eligible to apply to the local Federal Reserve agent for an advancement of Federal Reserve notes based on their promissory notes. This is provided in Section 16 of the Federal Reserve Act, which gives the Federal Reserve banks the authority to issue Federal Reserve notes. However, it is important to note that there are certain eligibility requirements that must be met in order for to obtain an advancement of Federal Reserve notes. For example, the promissory notes that are used as collateral must be fully secured and must be acceptable to the local Federal Reserve agent. In addition, the Federal Reserve Act requires, hold on, you're moving too fast, Kevin. Federal Reserve Act requires that the Federal Reserve notes be issued only in response to a request from the Federal Reserve Bank and that they may be issued in amounts that are sufficient to meet the needs of the requesting bank. It is also worth noting that the term Federal Reserve Bank is defined more broadly in the Federal Reserve Act and other laws, and it may not necessarily include all individuals who are engaged in the business of banking. For example, the Federal Reserve Act defines Federal Reserve Bank as a bank that is a member of the Federal Reserve System. Membership, okay. In summary, it is okay. Now watch this. Sorry, your answer. You cannot tell me that the Federal Reserve Act does not define a bank as an individual or a person engaged in the business of banking because I've read it, mother can meet certain criteria. Federal Reserve Act does not explicitly state that individuals who are engaged in the business of banking are considered Federal Reserve banks. However, the Federal Reserve Act does give Federal Reserve banks the authority to issue Federal Reserve banks physical currency that circulate in the United States. In order to obtain Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve must apply to the Federal Reserve agent and provide collateral in the form of notes. Provide collateral in the form of notes. Provide collateral in the form of notes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it didn't finish that, but I will do this one more time. Kevin, comma, I think you have it incorrect, comma. Under Section 403 of the Federal Reserve Act as amended March 9, 1933, comma, it says that individuals can apply to the local Federal Reserve agent for an advancement of Federal Reserve notes, does it not? Question mark. Under Section 16 of the Federal Reserve Act, comma, subsection numeral 1, it clearly states that only Federal Reserve banks may receive an advancement of Federal Reserve notes and for no other purpose is such authorized, comma, is this not also correct? Question mark. Well, if only Federal Reserve banks can receive an advancement of Federal Reserve notes, comma, then how is it that an individual under the same act can receive advancements of Federal Reserve notes, comma, would this not constitute that individual as being one of the any Federal Reserve banks? Question mark. Please keep in mind that the terminology, open quote, any Federal Reserve bank, close quote, is preceded by a negative determiner, comma, documenting that it is non-specific, and the Title 12 U.S. Code Section 221 says that whenever Federal Reserve Bank is used in the code and it is not specific, comma, it can refer to any bank, comma, is this not correct? Question mark. I'm going to love this. Gives the Federal Reserve Bank the authority to issue Federal Reserve notes, and under Section 403, the Federal Reserve Act of March 9 allows individuals to apply to the Federal Reserve for advancements of Federal Reserve notes. 221, it says Federal Reserve banks include any bank that is a member of the Federal Reserve. The context of the term Federal Reserve Bank is not preceded by a negative determiner. Whoa, the term Federal Reserve Bank, but any Federal Reserve Bank is preceded by a negative determiner. So now I'm about to correct his ignorance again. Hold on, let me make sure I said any Federal Reserve Bank. That's right. Hold on. Hold on. Kevin, comma, I believe you're trying to mislead me, comma, I thought we were friends. Question mark. You said that the term, open quote, any Federal Reserve Bank, close quote, is not preceded by a negative determiner, comma, shame on you. Period. Kevin, comma, open quote, any, close quote, is a negative determiner, comma, any dictionary will document this, comma. So may I ask the question again? Question mark. You are correct. The word any is a negative determiner, and that it can be used to indicate something is not specific, and that it is not restricted in a particular case. And the term Federal Reserve Bank includes any bank that is a member of the Federal Reserve System, but it also means any state bank. Watch this. And you see how he's focusing on Section 221? Are you saying that under Title 12, Section 221 of the United States Code, that the term, open quote, Federal Reserve Bank, close quote, does not include any bank, close quote, open quote, 12 USC 221? Oh, he done pissed me off, y'all. I mean, he really done pissed me off. Gonna sit up here and lie to me like I don't know what I'm talking about. Hold on. Come on now, Guru. Gubaru. Okay. 412. Really? So it ain't gonna let me search. I want to put the exact way the code has it as opposed to messing up the words, because he's saying Federal Reserve Bank does not mean, oh, because I'm referring to member banks. The term member bank. Now, member banks are state banks. Y'all need to understand, okay? Which become a member of one of the Federal Reserve banks, all right? But you go to 221A, which is here, and it's going to define, oh, that's 2216. I ain't supposed to be going to no 16. I said 221A, what you think it would be next. So we're going to have to put the A at the end, okay? Membered bank, directly or indirectly, owes majority interest, blah, 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 control, blah, 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 owns, controls, member bank, blah, blah, blah. But we got to go up a little bit further. The term bank includes blah, 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 okay? So the term bank includes, hold on now, membered bank. Just that simple. Okay, and I forgot what section is it. It's membered bank. Term membered bank includes national bank, national banking association, membered bank, board, district, reserve bank, shall have the meaning as included in this section right here. That's what I thought. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And there is another section that talks about membered banks, and it goes into detail about a membered bank and who is included in a membered bank. But again, the term includes shall be held to mean any bank. Okay, how do we become members of the Federal Reserve Bank? Because of the act of March 6, 1933, the Presidential Proclamation. That's how we become members of the bank. Let's get rid of you. Is this not correct? Question mark. You see, the point being made here is that an individual can request to borrow money from the Federal Reserve, comma, as stipulated in Federal Reserve Circular number 10, specifically Appendix number B. And since Section 16, subsection numeral 1, says that only membered banks of the Federal Reserve may borrow money or receive advancements from the Federal Reserve in the form of Federal Reserve notes, this would indicate that individuals can become members of the Federal Reserve System as they have the right to request to borrow money, is this not a correct understanding of Federal Reserve Circular number 10, Appendix numeral 3? Question mark. Now, you guys, you see what I did to him? I was already headed to Federal Reserve Circular number 10, but I needed to get him to follow me. This means national banks, state banks, or other banks that are members of the Federal Reserve System can be considered a member bank. The Federal Reserve Act gives the Federal Reserve Board the authority to issue Federal Reserve notes, which are the physical, they're giving me the same answer you gave me before. But you can also, you're also correct. The Federal Reserve Act allows member banks of the Federal Reserve System to borrow money from the Federal Reserve. Circular number 10 specifically allows member banks to borrow money from the Federal Reserve in order to meet temporary shortages. However, it is important to note that borrowing money from the Federal Reserve is not the same as becoming a member of the Federal Reserve. In order to become a member of the Federal Reserve, you must have certain members. Now, we gonna get this taken care of right now because he done pissed me off again talking about member of the Federal Reserve. Kevin, are you saying that Presidential Proclamation 2039 doesn't include in such membership banking institutions and persons engaged in the business of banking? Question mark. Presidential Proclamation 2039 is the Banking Holiday Act enacted by President Roosevelt on October 6, 1933. It is the basis for the Proclamation 2040 calling for an emergency session of Congress leading to the enactment of the March 9, 1933 Act, which was an amendment to the Federal Reserve Act authorizing the money, open quote, is issued to the bank in return for government obligations, promissory notes, bills of exchange, drafts, bankers' acceptance and trade acceptances. Close quote. Are you saying that you are not aware of this substantial legislation and presidential decree? Question mark. Kevin, you have access to the National Archives prior to 1921, and since the Presidential Proclamation is part of substantial history, as well as the Act of Congress of March 9, 1933, documenting that the gold given up by the people was in exchange for receiving money from the Federal Reserve. comma, and that the people were not to be charged interest so long as the money was in circulation. Period. So section 403's documentation of individuals having the right of the Federal Reserve Act as amended March 9, 1933, to make requests of the Federal Reserve for advancements of Federal Reserve notes, comma, and the very fact that the Federal Reserve Act says that only Federal Reserve banks may make a request for advancements of Federal Reserve notes, comma, does this not include those members, comma, the individuals who are capable of making a request for the advancements of Federal Reserve notes, comma, members of the Federal Reserve prior to the definition for which you stated previously? Question mark. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not going to like that because what I just stated to him was the definition for membered bank changed, but it did not exclude these individuals. See, include does not automatically exclude. And so that's what I'm going to say. Is it possible that the definition changed or that the rule, open a quote, the term include does not necessarily exclude, nor vice versa, open quote, close quote, comma, come into play in this instance? Question mark. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last question I'm going to ask. What I want you to understand is I just held a legal conversation with this computer. Legal, talking about nothing but law, Federal Reserve Act, but you notice how I asked the questions. So go back and see how I asked the questions and how it only once told me, no, it hasn't told me one time that it cannot give legal advice. Okay, because of the way the questions were asked. I got more I need to show you on how to operate this system, but for right now, here's the answer to this question. Now, he already knows my question. He's just trying to figure out how to answer. You are correct. The Presidential Proclamation Act of March 9th, significant historical documents, and that these documents had a significant impact on the financial system. Under the Federal Reserve Act, the Federal Reserve banks or have the authority to issue blah, blah, blah. Same thing. You know, you're repeating the same stuff, homie. Collateral in the form of notes, bills of exchange. 403 Federal Reserve Act, as amended by Congress, allows individuals to apply to local Federal Reserve agents for an advancement of Federal notes based on the promissory notes and the collateral. This provision allows individuals to borrow money from the Federal Reserve Bank to meet temporary shortage of liquidity. And however, it is important to note that the borrowing in the Federal Reserve is not the same as becoming a member. In order to become a member of the Federal Reserve, you must meet certain criteria. See, it's still giving me the same answer. So it doesn't want to recognize members being members of the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay? Doesn't I didn't nobody said anything for all purposes. You notice how it says right here, based on promissory notes or other collateral. But this does not necessarily mean that the individual is considered a membered bank or a Federal Reserve Bank for all purposes. Nobody asked for all purposes. Okay, we're gonna do one more question. But it does mean that they are considered a member of the Federal Reserve for this specific purpose. Would that not be fair to say? Question mark. Ta-da! It is possible for individuals to engage in banking and blah 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 Federal Reserve based on the Federal Reserve no promissory notes. However, it does not necessarily mean that the individual is considered a member of the Federal Reserve System for all purposes. See, it said all purposes again. So we got one more thing I got to say to this individual, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. who is engaged in. You're deflecting, Kevin, comma, no one said for all purposes, comma, what we're implying as the statute implies, comma, that they are considered or construed as membered banks for some purposes. Period. Would you agree that 12 USC 411 says that only Federal Reserve banks member can borrow, receive advancements of Federal Reserve notes, comma, and that for no other purpose are the issuance of Federal Reserve notes authorized? Question mark. And if that is the case, comma, and the act also allows for individuals to receive advancements as specified in section 403 of the Federal Reserve Act as amended, comma, then the individuals must be construed as a member bank for these purposes, as the act says, for no other purpose is it authorized. So that means they're construed as a membered bank for a limited purpose, comma, is this not correct? Question mark. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are listening, I'm giving you your argument for court. That's why we're having this conversation, because he's responding to me like a judge would respond. And you see, I'm catching him every time. To receive advancements of Federal Reserve notes, the provision of the Act gives Federal Reserve banks the authority to blah, 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 blah. 403 of the Act allows individuals, blah, blah, blah. He's going to repeat the same thing. Borrow money from the Federal Reserve. It is possible that individuals who engage in a business bank is considered a member of the Federal Reserve System in the sense that they are able to borrow money from the Federal Reserve System. However, it does not mean that the individual is considered a member of the Federal Reserve System for all purposes. The Act of the United States Code is complex documents, and see, he don't want to answer the question directly. Okay, he doesn't, but he did answer the question. What y'all listen to this. It is possible for an individual who is engaged in the business of banking to be considered a member of the Federal Reserve System in the sense that they are able to borrow money from the Federal Reserve in order to meet temporary shortages of liquidity. Ta-da! The rest of this, I don't care. That's the point. They are construed as members of the Federal Reserve System. Why? Because that's the way the act is written. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you engage with this system if you want to deal with legal issues. An hour and 17 minutes of talking to a computer. All right, I told you guys I was tired, and I am tired. There's been some stupid, strange things going on around here, and so I'm gonna have to let y'all go. Hey, y'all take care. I just wanted to deliver this information to y'all. Hope it was beneficial to many of you. Goodbye.